So Bruno Fernandes has given an interview saying, "Growing up, everyone knows Cristiano was my favorite player. It wasn't because he plays in my position, because that wasn't the case, but it was the way he worked every day, the mentality he had. Ronaldo had the capacity to give 100% in every game at a high level. For me, it was like a motivation, like you always have to do better. He was scoring goals every game, but game after game, he was still trying to improve, get better and better. His mentality makes him unstoppable." Now, this is very true. Cristiano Ronaldo does have an elite mentality, which a lot of people have said that nobody else possesses. He's one of the first players at the gym, one of the last players to leave. A lot of people have said, a lot of football players, that Ronaldo is always at the gym, he's always practicing, and now Bruno Fernandes comes out and says the same thing. Fernandes is in his own right a superstar in the is a superstar in world football right now, with having one of the best seasons in the English Premier League by a midfielder and by any player actually in the last ever since the Premier League was in uh, ever since the Premier League was started. So it's quite interesting that he's saying this about his national teammate. Also, the Euros are around the corner. They start tomorrow. A lot of teams are in the running. There's France, there's Portugal, Germany, Italy, Spain, England is there. So a lot of good teams. A lot of good teams. Let's see who goes on to win the Euro Championships. Portugal are clearly the favorites right now for me, because they have Cristiano Ronaldo, they have Bruno Fernandes, they have one of the best attacks in the Euros. Now, Manchester United uh, should consider making swap deals now. United are going for a player like Declan Rice. They want Erling Haaland, Jadon Sancho in their team. They're looking to really improve on the team, which is a good thing, because last season there was just that much difference between them and Manchester City. I wouldn't say it is a very big difference, but they need a couple of players to plug that gap. Unless City also improve, which they are looking to improve, they're looking for Harry Kane and Erling Haaland. So City themselves are looking at a lot of people, a lot of players. Now Manchester City could look for swap deals, instead of spending too much money on one player and then selling the other player to a different team. Why not just look to sell the same player to the same team, and that way both parties are happy. Obviously, that doesn't always happen. It's a very rare occurrence in football. It's a very common occurrence in other sports, but in football, it doesn't really happen that way. But it's something that should be looked at by clubs, especially with the financial fair play rules. Now, somebody like Jesse Lingard, who's not in their plans, United already have a lot of players in that particular position. They have Bruno Fernandes, Donny van de Beek is there, they have Juan Mata, they have Anthony Martial, Paul Pogba can play in that position, Marcus Rashford plays on the left of the front three. So a lot of players, Mason Greenwood is there. So a lot of players play in a similar position to what Jesse Lingard plays. So Lingard has shown that he's an exceptional player with West Ham. What he did with West Ham this year in the second half of the season shows that he still has a lot of quality. But it's going to be very hard for him to break into the United squad. Maybe they can keep him as a fourth choice option, but then they will have to sell somebody like Juan Mata, who again is a very good player still, and they seem to be reluctant to sell him off. But if United are looking at a guy like Declan Rice, maybe they can swap somebody like Fred or Scott McTominay, and somebody like Daniel James can go the other way. So they need to sell these players off, because having a youth squad is a good thing, but sometimes you need to have quality instead of quantity. So, So coming back to last night's post about how Chelsea have submitted a bid of 60 million euros for Ashraf Hakimi, and they already have Reece James in that position. Now Hakimi would definitely be an upgrade to Reece James, but we saw Reece James can also be played as a right centre back next season because Azpilicueta is getting up there in age, so he won't be playing every match. So it will be interesting to see where Chelsea go from here. Will they play Reece James on the right side of a three-man defense? Will they play him in the right midfield position? Because Hakimi is ideally a right back or a right midfielder or a right wing back. He's not a right centre back. Reece James played well. Cesar Azpilicueta has played well, and Inter Milan are interested in Emerson Palmieri and Andreas Christensen. So another swap deal we can see guys like Palmieri or Christensen being added into this deal, and Hakimi going the other way. That would be good for Chelsea but bad for PSG, as PSG are also looking to sign Hakimi. They have also submitted their bid for the player. Meanwhile, Arsenal are not doing so well. They have not made a single signing. They've lost out on Bonidia. They've lost out on a lot of players in the off season. Real Madrid's Antonio Blanco started his career with his debut goal as he played for Spain before just in the friendly just before the Euros. Now the Spain squad has been hit with the coronavirus very hard. The coronavirus has meant that many of Spain's players were not. In fact, their entire Euro squad was not involved in that game. They played the under 21 squad, and they did quite well with a lot of Real Madrid players playing pretty well. There is another proposal for Real Madrid, that Real Madrid are proposing that they play their matches at the Wanda Metropolitano next season. The Santiago Bernabeu, as we all know, is under renovation since before last year, and all games last year were played at the Alfredo Di Stefano Stadium, where Madrid played quite well actually. But it seems like it won't be fixed for next season as well, and as a result, they're looking to play their matches at the Wanda Metropolitano, and the Real Madrid fans apparently are approving of the move because you need fans in the stadium, and Di Stefano does not offer those many seats. Sergio Ramos could depart Real Madrid. There is a new U-turn that has happened with the player agreeing, with the player wanting a move, with the player wanting to re-sign with the club now. But the club are playing hard to get, as they don't want to sign Ramos anymore. If Ramos leaves, that will probably mean Karim Benzema as a captain, because there are no Spanish players in that team anymore. Like Ramos was there, Iker Casillas was there, these guys are Spanish, Raul was there, so Hierro was there. So for a long time, Madrid have had a history of Spanish captains, but if Ramos leaves, that only leaves guys like Casemiro or Toni Kroos or Karim Benzema as the captaincy choice. So Thibaut Courtois, Rafael Varane, these are the experienced campaigners in that lineup. So it would mean a non-Spanish captain. Staying with Real Madrid, Casemiro, Eder Militao and Vinicius Junior, all three make the Brazil squad list for the 2021 Copa America. Casemiro has been in great form last season. He performed really, really well. Eder Militao, we can say the same thing. Militao also performed very well as a centre back. His stats were off the charts. His interceptions, his tackling, his speed, the way he has positioned himself, all of them were good. Like, he was doing everything that you expect from a centre back, from a Real Madrid centre back, and he was scoring the goals as well. Vinicius Junior, again, whenever he has the ball, he looks dangerous. That is one thing, he looks dangerous. You know that he's going to do something. He's going to try to attack the defender. He's going to try and make something happen. Whether it pulls off or doesn't, that's a different matter altogether, but he always tries to make something or the other happen. Coming back to the Euro 2020, one of the players to watch out would be Jack Grealish for sure. Now, Jack Grealish is an unbelievable player. Jack Grealish is an unbelievable player who wins you free kicks, who will create, who is not afraid of getting the ball. He has good technique. He gets the ball in the dangerous areas. He takes the ball, he gets into dangerous areas, takes the ball, is not afraid to beat his man. He's got very good ball control and close control. So he's the sort of player you want in your team as a left midfielder or on the left wing. That's his position, the left side. So you want a player like him on that side because he will win you free kicks. He will make something happen. He will get you goals. He will get you assists. He will cut inside. He will go outside. He will beat his man. He has a lot of ways to beat his player and get you goals and get you assists. Harry Maguire is back in England training ahead of the Euro 2020 opener. That's very good news for England. Harry Maguire would have been sorely missed otherwise because England do not have as many centre backs as they have other players. They have Connor Cody, who did not have a he did not have a great season. He had a good season, but it wasn't a very great season. Harry Maguire might just be slightly better than Cody at the moment. John Stones, on the other hand, had a very good season. So Stones should be a definite lock-in for that position, alongside maybe Tyrone Mings, Ben Chilwell, Ben White, or Reece James. So it remains to be seen who Gareth Southgate picks in that team. I would go for a 3 at the back formation with Sam Johnstone as my goalkeeper. Have Kyle Walker, John Stones, and if Harry Maguire is fit, Harry Maguire as my three centre backs. In midfield, I would like to have Mason Mount and Declan Rice as the two central midfielders. Ben Chilwell can be on the left hand side as a left wing back, and Reece James can be on the right side with Jack Grealish, Harry Kane, and Phil Foden up top. That would mean guys like Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho missing out. Calvin Phillips, who had a great season, Jude Bellingham had a great season. These players will miss out, but they will get their opportunities either later tournaments, later on in this tournament itself. Because for sure, not all these players are going to be in great form. Some of the players are going to miss out, and some of the players are going to, there might be injuries, there might be suspensions, there might be loss of form during the tournament. You might change your formation. There are substitute appearances. Maybe some player comes on, like Raheem Sterling comes on and he scores a goal, or he has a really good performance after coming on, or maybe Foden and Grealish do not get along. Both of them play in a similar role. They both want to be free. Harry Kane likes to come deep, and then who's going to play up front? Who's going to go forward and play as the attacker? Foden has the ability. He does that for Manchester City a lot. He plays at the false nine. Sometimes he's the guy who gets the goals, but Jack Grealish does not get you a lot of goals. If Harry Kane drops deep, who's going to, go up top and get you the goals? So maybe Dominic Calvert-Lewin might get a look in at that time, or Marcus Rashford might get a look in at that time, or maybe even Jadon Sancho, because he also scores a lot of goals. He likes to attack. So a lot of permutations and combinations are possible. In midfield, Jordan Henderson is missing out. Now Henderson is another really good player. He controls the game very well. His passing is good, his tackling is good. So that's Henderson's role. Calvin Phillips is more of a defensive midfielder, but Henderson's role is to more like control the game. Declan Rice is again more of a defensive midfielder. Mason Mount likes to control. He likes to get the ball. He's like Jack Grealish. He likes to get the ball at his feet. He likes to create. He likes to move in to those tight spaces and get out of those tight spaces at the same time, beat his man and create. And he's been in great form this season. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there, if Harry Maguire gets fit or not. Diego Llorente is set to return to the Spanish camp after testing negative for the COVID test. Llorente was the second player who tested positive after Sergio Busquets. However, Spain still have a 17-man parallel squad in place should any further changes be required. Ukraine are allowed to keep their map featuring Crimea on jersey, but ordered by UEFA to remove the slogan. There was some controversy regarding the map on Ukraine's jersey, but apparently they've been allowed to keep it. Celtic appoint Postecoglou as their new head coach. Messi might go to Inter Miami soon. Christian Vieri has said that he expects Italy to challenge for the title as Amazing Mancini leads Azzurri resurgence. Italy have a very strong squad again. Italy have a very strong squad. They have a good goalkeeper in Gianluigi Donnarumma. Then they have a very good defensive-minded team. They have guys like Bonucci and Chiellini at the back. Spinazzola can play on the left back. Florenzi at right back. They have a good midfield with Nicolo Barella, Jorginho, Locatelli. Attack is Ciro Immobile, Insigne, and Berardi. Now, let's not underestimate this team because guys like Chiellini and Bonucci have been around for a long time and they've won everything there is to win. And do not expect them to go down without a fight. They are very good centre backs still. They might be up there in age, but they're still very good centre backs who will not give an inch to the opposition. Spinazzola and Florenzi both will bomb down the wing. They're good defensively and they're good offensively. They might not be the flashiest of fullbacks, but they will get the job done. With Marco Verratti's injury, guys like Jorginho and Locatelli are getting their chances. Barella has had a very good season, so it's a very good defense. And attack is also good with the likes of Berardeschi and Belotti on the bench. Immobile is again one of the most clinical strikers in the world right now. As is Lorenzo Insigne is very good on the wing. So we shouldn't sleep on Italy. Rafael Benitez could return to Merseyside by going to Everton. Everton are without a boss. They were interested in getting Nuno Espirito Santos, but that interest has faded. Other coaches under consideration are Graham Potter, Christopher Galtier, and Roberto Martinez. Barcelona are eyeing Manchester City's Raheem Sterling as a replacement for Ousmane Dembele. Dembele is being eyed by PSG. I don't know why PSG would eye Dembele because Dembele has hardly played any games ever since he's gone to Barcelona. Yes, he was very good. He was a wonder kid and he was very good when he was at Borussia Dortmund. But ever since he has moved to Barcelona, he has hardly done anything of note. And Raheem Sterling is actually one of Manchester City's prime player, but Manchester City are looking to rebuild. They're looking to get some Phil Foden, and they're looking to make weight by selling off the likes of Raheem Sterling, Bernardo Silva, and getting Phil Foden and Harry Kane. City already has a very strong team and they have a good squad. Why they want to get rid of Raheem Sterling and bring Jack Grealish, sorry, not Phil Foden, and bring Jack Grealish into that team is anybody's guess. But Raheem Sterling has lost his spot in that squad. So let's see what Manchester City are going to do about that. Well, that was all for this episode. We'll see you tomorrow.